My name's Tony, and you are watching Faith and Coffee Bean. Let me kind of get my camera angle good here and nice and set up. Y'all, I am a complete coffee geek, and if you're watching this video later, let me just tell you, you are watching a live video. I like to go live 2 or 3 times a week, and if you like to talk about coffee, you are definitely amongst friends and in the right spot. So definitely think about hitting that subscribe button. I really appreciate it, y'all. This is totally, when I do these guys, they are really, let's hang out, let's jam and make some coffee. They're not really well thought out or planned. That's the best way to put it. If you hear little doggies bark, or a wife or a son call for me, please forgive me. Guys, I often sometimes also kind of want to say, I'm just some dad making coffee content in his home office, goofing around. I don't know. Sometimes I kind of get cracked up because there's a lot of folks who like, I don't know, do videos for companies and stuff. And guys, sometimes companies will send me something, but I never get paid to do any of this. It's all just like getting reviews and doing that type of thing. But anyway, guys, yeah, I'm just some small dude goofing around. So might not have the best audio, might not have the best cameras. Someone recently wrote to me, they're like, and then they said it in a nice way, you got to up your camera game. And I'm just like, buddy, I'm doing this on an iPhone. This is like my passion project. So guys, I really appreciate hanging out with me so much. You guys are awesome. So, okay, it's Saturday. It's going to be a long weekend if you're in the United States. We're having a holiday. So definitely cool. Labor Day is this basically this Monday. So spend some time hanging out with your family. Guys, I want to talk about a couple things today. So one thing I kind of want to talk about, I love following Lance Hendrick. He's one of the coolest coffee voices out there and one of the best folks to watch on YouTube. And he's talked a lot about making soup. And I kind of love it a little bit because, guys, I like to make a big cup of espresso. I like to make a spro over, and that's actually one of my favorite ways of doing it. Sometimes I'll do 50, 60 grams of water. There's there's so many cool things out there. One of my favorite things to do is use my old school Delonghi ECP over here. Sometimes I'll clear out the cobwebs and I'll heat that thing up, let it sit and get hot for about 20 minutes. And then I'll brew a big cup of espresso. And one of the things I love with doing that is the fact that I have this really cool, very cheap, awesome setup here. So this is a 4-cup big boy basket. Let me see if I can pop this out here. Wasn't sure if it was going to be stuck in there. This is a very inexpensive basket. You could find this in AliExpress for like $5, okay? And what it is, it's really big and deep, and it's designed kind of like when, about 20 years ago, I was a barista in college, and when someone would say they wanted a 4-shot or quad shot, at least in my cafe, this is how we would do it. We'd grab a big basket like this, pop it into the Portafilters at 58, but it was something that was like equivalent of like 20 plus grams. Just pack that thing in, make a giant shot of espresso, and just let it rip. Okay, or we would do 2 doubles and then add them together, which is really the way someone should do it, okay? Not the cheater way. But what I'm saying is I really love taking something like this and filling it with a lot of coffee. And if you guys have been watching his videos, he's been talking about getting a light roast coffee, going actually not as fine. Okay, not as fine. Going coarser and then making these really cool shots where you're doing like kind of letting the water seep in and get saturated and kind of working out the bloom rates and all that good stuff. And it's really cool. I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm not Lance. I am not a paid professional. I am not a coffee expert, guys. I'm just some dude. I am just some, like I said, home barista. So I'm not at all claiming anything like that, but I just really love it. I've made shots like that. Why it kind of made me kind of chuckle a little bit. Everyone's kind of been getting into that is because that's kind of how I've always made some espresso in the past anyway. And I'd kind of laugh, "Hey, how's it going? How's it going, Joey?" And I kind of laugh a tiny bit because I would get a lot of flack. And here's one big thing, guys, I'm going to tell you right now. You make coffee the way you want to make coffee. If you want to use a 4-shot basket and only fill it halfway, or only fill it to a certain point, you want to use a single origin coffee. You want to use Vietnamese coffee. You want to get your coffee from Kenya. You want to do a wash. You want to do a natural processed coffee. Any way you want to do coffee, one thing I'm going to tell you guys, just do coffee the way you enjoy it. Because that is the biggest thing. I think a lot of times, and I've kind of said this before, a lot of folks get really caught up in like, I got to have this recipe and only this recipe. And that's okay. Like, that's actually a really good thing because we should have like good standards. But every now and then, it's okay to be a little wacky and enjoy your coffee. So yeah, I'm a big fan of uh, making coffee like that, or being a little goofy sometimes, mixing it up. Hey, cool. Hey, Rob, I'm reading your comment right now. So, you watched the last 64 millimeter live video. Awesome. Ordered the Mocom. Cool. Okay. And you've got the SSP 64 millimeter. So, oh, okay. Interesting, man. So here's the thing, man. You beat me to getting that unit. I'm getting the unit sent to me right now. So just so you guys, just to kind of tell everyone, uh, the company out there, I think you say Mocom. Yeah, Mocom. Okay, they are basically another company that's using this exact chassis, this exact setup, just with basically the Chardor 64. So the Chardor 64 uh, is just been a powerhouse. I've really enjoyed it. I've swapped out multi-purpose burrs into this one. They are not SSP, they're generics. So I'm just gonna say that I never want to say something that's it's not the case. I couldn't afford to get SSP, but I've had some really good results with this, and I'm really excited. I will be getting my grinder. It was supposed to get here today. Apparently, it's been a little delayed, but it should be this weekend. So y'all will be seeing a big review video. And Joey, I'm super excited, man. I want to hear more. Make sure you connect with me on Instagram, because even if you want to send me some pictures or chat or something, guys, I'm always open for that. Hit me up on Instagram all you want. I definitely always appreciate it. That it's fun. The reason why I did this is really just to kind of hang out with you guys. So yeah, totally. I'm very, very curious. I can't wait to open it up. Yeah. So yeah, best way, you guys, you can always reach out to me is just Instagram. Yeah, share a video, Instagram story, that type of thing. That usually works out for me. So yeah, I'm telling you guys, I love it. Yeah, there's quite a few folks that I've gotten in contact with, and it's just awesome to kind of see when you guys get some of these same machines. Okay, so let's brew some coffee because I haven't had any coffee today, and I'm on the East Coast. It's already about 12 o'clock, so I was like, yeah, I got to get this started. So I want to pull a big boy shot. Now I'm gonna tell you right now, guys, this is not gonna be the light roast Lance Hendrick soup. I love it. He said something that made me crack up, and I made a picture of it and put it on the thumbnail for this. He said the disciple of soup. He has a friend on Reddit, a big coffee pro, and he's called him the disciple of soup. And I thought that was hilarious. I'm Faith in Coffee Bean. I've shared with you guys before. My background is 20 some years ago. I really got into coffee because in Bible college, I was studying to be a minister, and I worked as a minister, and I also really worked as a community organizer for homeless shelters and working with organizations that help battered and abused women, working with folks who had substance abuse problems, and all that. I spent 2 years in New York City and living out there. I'm originally from the West Coast, the Southern California area, and I spent 2 years living in New York City, hanging out, getting to meet some amazing folks that own cafes and restaurants, and they would donate the stuff that didn't necessarily get sold, the product, to homeless folks, people that were unhoused at night. I helped kind of organize that for about 2 years after 9/11. So uh, I always, because I went to seminary, I like that stuff. He said disciple of soup. I'm like, yes, that is hilarious. So I asked AI to generate a picture of the disciple of soup, and somehow he looks like Lance a little bit with glasses. Oh my goodness. All right, guys. So I am finishing up Donut Store. This is good as gold. This is going to be the first shot I'm going to pull. We are going to be doing this on one of my favorite budget machines, and this is the Hibrew H10b. Y'all, if you were looking for a budget-friendly powerhouse right now on Amazon, it's going for $139. And what I really dig about it is using a 51 millimeter system. And I do really love the fact that with a 51 millimeter, like the Delonghi ECP, you're able to get those big, deep baskets without having to do a step down. And guys, just to let you know, I ordered a step down basket. Yeah, so I didn't get the really high-end step-down basket folks like Lance used and Han's Coffee. Han is amazing. I watch him almost every day when he goes live. His guys, oh my goodness, Han's like the coffee master. I know I'm trying to remember the gentleman that he has got his step-down basket from, or he purchased it through. And I know there's a gentleman who's doing it on Etsy and a couple other people that are making kind of like custom, high-end stuff. I know Weber Workshop is the one that Lance uses. I'm going to tell you guys, I'm always in pursuit of finding the most budget way to do stuff. If you guys haven't figured this out, the one thing that I like to share on my channel that's a little bit different than everyone else is I work on a shoestring budget. Now, in my day job, I'm a department head of a commercial insurance company. And I'm a geek, but I also am a family man. And when you're a person who's the family man or family lady, funds are hard. I got a teenager who's about to go to college soon, Things are, my pocketbook is small. And what kind of got me back into coffee was making coffee at home on the cheap. And I really love finding ways to talk to you guys about how you can do that. Because I think the more of us who are making espresso and coffee at home, the more educated we all are. More people are in it as a hobby, not just making something you consume. I really do believe coffee's like an art form. I don't take that lightly. When I was a barista in college, I really got into it. And one of the things that I missed the last 20 years, even though I made tons of pour overs, always pulled out the V60. I've literally got a V60 always chilling around me, or the AeroPress. But I just kind of lost that passion of being able to make espresso at home because I was in my own head. So I actually found, if you kind of do your research, especially with 58 millimeters, there's a step-down basket that someone's selling right now. I don't want to say where they're selling it per se because I'm not trying to diss anybody. But basically what it is it's a 58 millimeter basket this is a single shot. That's a step-down to a 49 millimeter base. So this is pretty much right about, actually I think this might be 41 now I think about it, this particular tamper. I think I have a 49 tamper around here somewhere. But think about it kind of like that, 54 would be like Breville. And I know there's a 54 out there, but this one goes down to 49, okay? Well, if you look, there's an old school basket that's called a 4-shot basket. That's basically the same basket right now that's on AliExpress. And they run anywhere from $5 to $10. I've gotten some stuff that was worked out in Ollie, and then there's some stuff I got where I don't recommend. Like I tried buying my Gemini, not this Gemini, another Gemini on Ollie, and had a really bad experience. But the smaller stuff I've actually had really good experiences on. So I've ordered a 58 millimeter 4-shot basket, step down to 49 millimeter with a 49 millimeter puck screen, so we can goof around with this thing and make some soup shots. So I got that going on too, so it's pretty cool. Awesome. Yeah, I like that, man. Justin, reading your comment, Justin says if you're able to put food on the table and keep the lights on, you're winning. I agree with you 100%. Yeah, I really do. I agree with that. To me, my family is my number one priority. Like, again, it might sound corny, guys and gals, but my wife, I've been married for almost 20 some years. She's going to take number one spot. My kid's number two. You know, we throw God in there, all that stuff, good stuff. But I'm just saying that, like, my family comes first. But I've also kind of learned I gotta treat myself every now and then. So, anyway, not to get too dang deep. I just want to do it on a budget and have some fun, you know, not feel the guilt. All right, guys. So I got 20 grams of coffee in here. Got the RDT. We're gonna put this on the Charter 64. I actually have, like I said, the multi-purpose burrs in here. My true zero is actually moved up a little bit, so I am going very coarse. And if you could see this, check this out, y'all. I'm actually definitely in the mocha pot range. So, again, you got to back it up about 5. So I'm about a 22, really. That's probably where I'm at. But that's flirting with mocha pot. So definitely flirting with mocha pot range. Not your standard shot. But I'm going to show you guys one of my favorite shots. Then we'll pull a little 1 to 2 afterwards. But yeah, this is one of my favorite shots. So let's go ahead and load this guy up. Yeah, I'm super stoked to get this new grinder. And then I got to tell you all about something cool too. Another cool thing going down. Awesome. All right, almost there. I know I just have a little bit more. All right, guys. So really cool. So I have the grinder that's like this that's coming this week. But y'all, it sounds like I'm gonna have another grinder. Basically, the next grinder that I'm gonna get that I'm so stoked about. I was just I'm really shocked how it's kind of happened. I'm getting a 64 millimeter flatbed grinder that is variable speed. It's not the DF64 version 2, but it's very similar. Uh, I want to kind of wait till I tell you guys exactly which one because I want to make sure it's going to come. I've had brands reach out to me before in the past and say, hey, can you do a review? And I get all excited, guys. And then sometimes something doesn't come. So until I know something shipped, then I'll kind of talk a little more about it. But just the fact that I'm going to be able to hopefully get that here pretty soon, I am stoked on. So this is the Hibrew, and I am going to go ahead and put just a little bit of water, run through it first. And the reason why I'm going to do this is that it's a thermal block system. Just something like the Dedica. That's kind of the best way to put it. You want to heat up your portafilter. You want to get your glass nice and hot. So that's something that's always a good idea. Let me just set this aside right over here. I'm very limited on my space here in my coffee corner. So, whoops, there we go. Actually, let me just get this awesome, crazy portafilter I just got. Look at this, guys. This thing is so cool. This is the IKAPE, and I have an IMS 20-gram concave basket in there. I got to clean it up a little bit. But this thing's a beast. So heavy, really hefty. I dig it. This has been a really cool one to mess with. Let me set this puppy down. It hurt someone with that thing. Okay. Yeah, it's definitely nice to have that temperature stability of the owl. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead, get my dosing ring on. I have a IMS basket for the 51 that I used in my last video. That one's actually such high quality stainless steel that it's not magnetized. And at first I was like so bummed out, but then I was realizing, oh, it's because it's good metal. This basket is a cheap basket. There's just no other way to say it. This is an AliExpress special. So I think this is one of the first big baskets I've ever got. I think I paid $4 for it. But I'm going to tell you guys, this $4 basket has given me some of my favorite shots. Kind of wild how that works. So it's so big, kind of get in there deep. Okay. There we go. Now, this is going to be kind of a weird shot when I do this. If you've watched my last video, I kind of made a happy accident. So I had the steam one opened up. Oh, it's not quite even. And I ended up pulling this shot that was just so delicious. And I was kind of inadvertently doing some pressure profiling, I guess you would call it. I mean, guys, I wasn't doing it on purpose, but man, made an amazing shot. I'm not going to necessarily do that today. I just want to show you guys one of my favorite shots that's just simple and easy. This is probably my favorite go-to for the morning. I have a ratio. I love doing my pour-overs in my kitchen. I actually have a Chardor kettle that we use every day to make tea and coffee in the house. And we use it a lot. But if I have my choice and I have the time, I always go with a shot like this just to get me going. Because I love just taking my espresso shot, but it's just nice kind of having something more, kind of a little bit Americano style, but not just a little more to drink. You know, it gets me going. I'm actually going to put 2 shot screens up here just because there's a lot of headspace. That's basically it. That was 20 grams of coffee. So let me just kind of point this out to you guys. If you wanted to make a mega shot and do 30 grams, you could. Now, am I going to recommend that for one person? No, I'm not. But you could. So, I mean, if you want to do the same thing and goof around with a recipe and go with something higher and just really make a big, giant shot of coffee, you could. But I will say this, guys, this is technically not, I would call it espresso range. I wouldn't call it espresso because it's not what this is. I mean, if we're going to be practical about it, that's not what this is. This would be similar to kind of what you get with an AeroPress, but I think better. I like my AeroPress, don't get me wrong, but yeah, this is a fun little shot. Okay, let's go ahead and get the scale over here. Okay. Yeah, this is such a cool machine, guys. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just start with a double. Up top, this is something really cool about this machine, just to show you guys. There is temperature control on this, so you can go ahead and change the settings. I'm going to go with the stock 95, but you can change the settings right up there. There's a couple other really cool settings you could change. Technically, you could do one of those cold shots on this thing too. Not that I do. Okay. Yeah, I love that Han's been kind of doing some of this stuff too, and it's just cool. I like seeing these bigger coffee folks really kind of get into making some interesting shots. So definitely pushing it a little bit, but what's going to happen is this puck is going to disintegrate, and the pressure should come off here. So that's your normal 30. I'm going to go ahead and push it just one more time. Yeah, and this is my big boy shot here. I'm going to stop it right about 60. Okay, I'm going to stop it here because it doesn't have the three-way solenoid, and I'm at 59.8. And again, this is not your 1-to-2 ratio. This is your crazy shot. I used to pull these before, and people would kind of give me a hard time when I first started my channel. So, and that's okay. I get it. A lot of. I don't think there's anything wrong with having a routine. I think routines are good, and I think especially in the coffee world, it's good to gain those good routines. But it's also good to kind of mix something up every now and then. So this is what I like to call my big boy shot. Some folks would call it a spro over. I've heard probably people say it the wrong way by calling it a four shot. It's not necessarily what it is. Even though 20 some years ago, that's where my brain was. Let's go ahead, just so you guys can kind of see an example here. Oh, great. My batteries are almost done on this thing. Bummer. Just going to put on the refractometer. I just put one of these on the refractometer the other day. It came in right about a 7. So again, close. It was like a 7.5 in the espresso range, but definitely not there. So that's what I'm saying. I really refrain from calling this true espresso in any way. Oh, that is delicious. That's really good. I really dig that, guys. This is my morning kind of routine shot. This is how I usually start the day. It's just I like to have that. It's a sipper. Hey, how's it going? Hey, Edie. I like to call it like a morning sipper. You have a full body. There's a lot to it. It's not ristretto. It's not small, but it's chill. This is my chill shot. Still has some good crema built up. These beans are not the youngest beans in the world. So the fact that you're seeing that crema is pretty awesome. But man, it has a good mouthfeel, a lot of body. It really does remind me of coffee that I personally do on the AeroPress. So I dig my AeroPress. I love it. I think AeroPress should be part of everyone's routine. That's one of my favorite go-to ways to make coffee. And if you're not doing AeroPress or you've never done it before, please go get one, especially if you're a coffee nerd. That is literally, when I travel, I generally just take the AeroPress and one of my new grinders. When I just went from Florida to California. I took my nutty grinder. I will probably take this bad boy on my next trip. And I have been so happy and stoked with this grinder. It is not a budget grinder. I'm going to just tell you guys that right now. It runs about, without promotion, about 150 or so. With promotions, I've seen it go down to about 130. But this is the Timer Whirly. This is 100% espresso capable, pour over capable. It's the burr set, from what I understand, is very similar to the new Timer that's out right now. So I like to think of the burrs in this as in between your S3 and my favorite pretty much grinder of all time, my Chestnut. So the Chestnut C2 or C3 Pro, I used this for 6 months straight to make espresso. I didn't have any electric grinders. I just did this and I hand grinded all my shots. I was crazy, but I kind of wanted to prove the point that I could do it. So I did it for 6 months. The Whirly, I think, is kind of like if these two had a baby and it was mobile. So I am really stoked to try out the new Time War. Has anyone tried that out yet? Oh, cool. You're using it, Alexis? Nice. How's it been going for you? Yeah, I've actually pulled some shots where they're just too fine. And I've done that in some of my lives here. And it just kind of blows my mind because it really is very capable. So I've been liking this thing a lot. So definitely cool. I'm super happy to have that, especially because I do a lot of traveling. I did get confirmed too. Nutty has a Kickstarter right now for their mobile espresso unit. They reached out to me. They're going to be sending one out to me for the channel. So they're not quite out yet, just yet to everyone, general public. I cannot wait to get that. I'm super excited, feel really honored because they liked that review that I did. So they're sending me this to test it out. So I will be getting that here pretty soon too. So I'm stoked, like really stoked. Okay, guys. So I really dig this Hibrew over here. If you're looking for something that is, you know, not going to break the bank and really give you pretty much like all the features you could really ask for. Oh, goodness gracious. It seems like this basket doesn't want to stick in there. It's a great unit. That is interesting. It's the basket. Oh, I think it's because of my limited space. Yep, that's what it is. I'm running out of space over here. But this is just an awesome unit. You could do a lot of things with it. The fact that you don't have to, if you wanted to create those depth shots that Lance has been talking about, that Han's been talking about. Han had a really cool suggestion and a really cool thing when he pulled a shot like this. If you could see here, guys and gals, there's water up top. He's been using a spring with the kit that he has. And I would definitely recommend something like that because when you do these big shots, unless you're really packing in with a lot of coffee, you know, you're going to get watery pucks for sure. That's just almost a guarantee. Here is nice and hot, but here's the big puck. I like big pucks. I do not lie. That's a good stuff right there. I love a big puck. I just, every time Lance talks about it or Han, I always kind of get like, yeah, because I really think it's about time folks are kind of talking about that kind of stuff because, lack of better words, I feel like I would do a couple videos a year or two ago and people would be like, what are you doing? That is insane. So it's kind of cool when you hear those guys make a little mainstream. Anyway. Oh, that's awesome. Alexis, I'm reading your comment. Yeah, it really is very quiet. That's the other cool thing about the Whirly. It's really quiet. I actually think the Whirly would be the perfect companion for an office. If you were on site, not in a work at home office, and you wanted to make coffee at your desk, oh man, that would be the first thing I'd grab. Just because I've been that guy with a hand grinder at my desk. Now, thankfully, in my role, I was a manager, and they just think, that's just the manager being crazy, being a weird coffee guy. And I don't care. Let them think that. But I'm just saying, the cool thing with the Whirly, it could be like stealth mode. All right, guys, let's go ahead. Let's do one more shot. We're going to use the Gemelite today. Yeah, this has been awesome. The new Portafilter, I've been really digging it. Yeah, I hope you all have been liking the videos I've been putting out. It's just cool because there are a lot of cool reviews that I kind of have planned out right now that I'm going to be doing in the future that I'm super excited about. This week I was able to get 2 videos out, so hope you all got to see those. That was on the grinder by Koshier. So I got that grinder, which is really cool to use. I was way more impressed than I thought. And then, of course, this great Portafilter from IKAPE. This thing is a beast. Like, if you're looking for a beast, that is totally a beast. Okay, guys, I'm just checking to see if I had my favorite basket here. The problem is when you got so many baskets, it's kind of hard to, go through them all sometimes. All right, I guess I'm going to do the 20 gram, even though it's going to be a big one. So let me go ahead and just let this get hot. Got to be careful with the L. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's do 20 grams, and let's make a nice, pretty shot. I'm going to have to go ahead and redial in the grinder here because it is way too coarse. I'll tell you that. Cool. So, Steve, I'm reading your comment right now. You're saying, what portafilter is that? And 2 months of owning the gem line. Nice. Okay. Really? Very inconsistent. Is it the owl you have, or is it the powerhouse? Because honestly, I've had kind of the opposite reaction. For with my owl, it's actually been one of, like, let me just kind of show you. I actually have the Gemini right here, powerhouse. So I've got the powerhouse just chilling right there, and honestly, the owl has been pretty well and worked really well for me. The one thing that I have heard, okay, so it is an owl, is this, and you might want to think about it. So 2 things I would recommend. You might want to contact Gemini support if you haven't already. Let them know, how things have been operating for you. I do know, and the one thing I have heard about some folks with Gemini, and I don't know, you said owl, so it should be, you should be based here in the States, so probably in the same marketplace as I'm in. The reason why I mention that is because there's different, I've heard it with some of the Spanish versions. And this is, again, this is just advice. This isn't, take it as you will. I do everything at your own risk because I know this avoids your warranty. That's the only reason why I really I say that very cautiously. You can open this up in the OPV valve. There's a kind of a coating on it that if you take the coating off, there's good videos out there. Do your research, okay? Because I have not done this. I'm going to be honest with you. It's one of those things, I rarely open up my machines. If you want to see a good modding channel, Tom's Coffee Corner, Tom's an engineer. He is amazing. He will literally break open stuff and get into it. And he's done a lot of modding videos, especially with the ECP. And anyway, you could take a flathead screwdriver and basically put it to the OPV. It might be that your OPV needs to be adjusted. That would be my guess. I would definitely recommend going on Reddit and asking some questions, because I honestly, that's the weird part. I have had some of the best shots ever on this machine, and I recently put it back in my corner, even though I have the powerhouse, because it's just given me a lot of consistency. And that sucks. I really hate hearing that. It's a bummer, because I have heard it. I don't think that you're not the first person that said that. So something to think about. So if you're doing everything, like all your recipes are in line, you got a good grinder, using the right baskets, that would probably be the thing I would think about. And if I had to take a guess, it's probably the OPV being on way too high, because I'll show you what I'm talking about right now. So I do love this machine. The OPV is not adjustable the way that it would be on the Turrent Legato version 2 or the Me Coffee Apex version 2. So, oh, and you're using a DF64. Goodness gracious, man. You should be rocking it. Like, it should be. Like, I'm telling you, you got a recipe for some good stuff. Man, that is a bummer. I'm so sorry to hear that, because I is like, I've heard it a couple, like maybe just very few times, and trust me, I'm on a lot of the forums and stuff. But that's something you might want to think about. But anyway, the Turrent Legato has an adjustable, version 2 has an adjustable OPV on the right-hand side. So that's pretty cool. I have the Gemini Powerhouse version 1, and believe it or not, it doesn't even have an OPV. So, yeah. Yeah, and again, I'm not saying that it's 100% what it is, because again, I'm not a coffee pro. I'm a home hobbyist. I'm a coffee dad. I'm telling you, sometimes I think someone should open up a little, well, and there probably is, like, people that will fix your machine. I'm sure there is in every big town. But they're probably used to the high-end machines you get in a cafe, not the home machines like a lot of us use. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead. We're going to do this with the IMS concave basket. It's a 20-gram basket. This will be a big shot too, but I'm going to pull this as just a regular double shot. So that's going to be the difference here. And I'm definitely going to adjust the grind size. I hope I'm not off right now on my grinder, because I'd hate to choke it, because that is probably the one thing that it's capable of doing right now, is being able to choke it. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's adjust this bad boy here. So right now, let me show you guys. To know your true zero, you want to take it down to chirping. I'm not saying you should do this all the time, but let me turn on my grinder and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. I have noticed as I've used these burrs, I think, I don't know, it's like it's gelling a little bit more together, as goofy as that sounds. So that's pretty fine. Yeah, not even quite there. So, goodness, that's I'm surprised. Usually I get to chirp right about there. But anyway, so for this, I'm gonna say I probably want to go with about a 20. But let's do about 18 right there. Let's go about 18. Okay. And this is one that I don't want to go too fine, but it's not at all what I was just doing right now. All right, let me go ahead and get that glass nice and clean. Got this getting nice and hot. All right, I have a feeling there's a little bit more in there. Ever since I swapped the burrs, it just takes a little bit longer. There we go. All the way through the 20. There we go. Nice. All right, let's do a little puck prep. Okay. Let's get this big boy out of here. Nice and hot. Yeah, this thing is super hefty. I do like that it's squared off, because I don't have to worry about rolling around the table. Believe me, I've had it happen. Yeah, that's never a good experience, y'all, to just spill the coffee like that. Never a good experience, for sure. Okay. Do some WDT. Nice and powdery. Like I said, I'm almost worried about it choking. This is Birdie Bees. This is a Birdie Coffee. Bees, listen to me. Birdie Coffee. They're out of Vietnam. Awesome roaster. This is an Arabica and Robusta blend. So I am hoping for some Crema here. I'm using the IKAPE 58 V6 distributor. This is the new one. And if you guys are on Instagram, I'm telling you, I'll probably seen a bunch of people use this. This is the one that looks like a skate wheel. It's double access. I've really been enjoying it, and for the price, they're about $25 to $30 right now. You can't beat that. The quality is stellar. I highly recommend it. If you're looking for a good one, go for it. Okay. And that was the Impact V60 version 6. That's a V60. Listen to me. Yeah, it's called version 6. Okay. Get a little puck screen right up top. All right, let's lock and load this bad boy. Yeah, I wish I had a little more space in my coffee corner. Okay, cool. So let me actually show you the pressure gauge, because that actually might show up a little bit here. Okay. This portafilter is so big. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead, let's turn on the scale. I'm gonna aim for about 30 to 32. So this would be a nice condensed shot. I'm hoping for a normal ratio. So there is good. I think we're almost in business. Okay, there we go. I was off a little bit. So as you can see, this is already pulling high. So I could already tell y'all I went too fine. But again, I'm trying to dial in those beans. This is not going to be a pretty shot. Bummer. But this is kind of what I'm saying with this machine. The OPV is really set more to 12 versus a 9. I know that for a fact. And I've had a lot of folks, I'm going to just turn that off and redo it. I've had a lot of folks reach out to me saying that I should do the OVP adjustment. So, yeah, Steve, that could be it. So I typically let the owl warm up at least 5 minutes or so, sometimes longer. I mean, to really be honest with you, I mean, the temperature stability it provides in the group head is really awesome. But when I'm working with a big portafilter like this portafilter by far is one of the most heavy-duty portafilters I've ever used at home. And there's a lot of metal. So right now when I touch it, it's cool to touch. Pretty warm here. The outside is pretty warm. But right now, even in the amount of time that we were just kind of talking and chatting about it, that's usually how long I give to kind of let it do its magic. But yeah, longer is going to be better, just because that's always going to give you the optimal temperature stability. You know, that's really what it comes down to. Really, all that group head is really doing is mimicking a boiler, what a boiler would be doing, with like an E61 heat exchange. So that's basically, you know, in a nutshell. Even right now, I'm going to put it back in there to let it still keep the heat. Okay. All right, guys. I am going to go about a 22 on my grinder. Just because I'm going to go on the opposite end, and I have a feeling this is going to be in the sweet spot. One of the things that I kind of find with a flat 64, especially when you do the upgraded burrs, they are way more sensitive. My stock burrs, I feel like were a little more forgiving, and that actually makes total sense when you really think about it. So the stock burrs were like, in a DF64, it would be still DC burrs. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, this grinder, stock burrs, are very similar to that. I would almost say they're copies. But, yeah, again, I'm not an expert, but I'm just kind of going off of some of the other experts because I'm not an expert. But apparently, even the folks that are super famous don't even have the patent for it. That's what I'm hearing. So it's someone else that started that burr design. So that's the reason why you see a lot of clones out there. And I'm not poo-pooing that because I'm not above it. These are definitely clone burrs, guys. I wish I could say otherwise. Trust me. I wish I could say I could afford SSP, but I can't. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. That is my goal. That is totally my goal. But yeah, definitely clone burrs. So I guess that's a long way of saying the stock burrs in this machine were probably clone of. I think Han had mentioned this before. Not the HU, but something similar to it. So something similar to HU, which makes sense. Okay, so let's go ahead and try this one more time. Okay, so I am reading your comment, Steve. You said, so who makes the flat port? Like like the burrs itself? Yeah, this is looking better. Grind side's definitely looking better. Getting right to the end here. Nice and clear. All right, let's try this one more time here. Okay. Yeah, it's crazy. You could really. I was cracking up with Han talking about the coffee rabbit hole the other day. I'm gonna tell you guys, I have gone down the coffee rabbit hole on a daily basis. I love coffee, and you really can start geeking out about the different ways you can do stuff. I will admittedly say that I get a little obsessed at trying to find the best way I can do it for the cheapest price possible, and that's kind of the heart of my channel. Where you know, yeah, you're not going to see a $500+ grinder probably in here. Not to say there's anything wrong with that. Trust me, if I had the money, I would do it. But I really love getting stuff on the cheap and just trying to make the best that I can with the budget I have. Because, like I said, guys, that's kind of been my coffee life lesson. And I don't know. I guess it's a lesson on a lot of things in life. Sometimes we put stuff off. I rarely share this kind of stuff, and this might, again, be me getting a little deep, but that's okay. This channel's called Faith and Coffee Bean. My dad passed away at like 51. I am in my mid-40s, and so this was like 10+ years ago. And ever since Pops passed away, I kind of realized, tomorrow's promised to no person, And we don't know when stuff's going to happen or how things are going to happen. And I've lost a lot of family members to cancer and COVID in the last few years. People I really love, people that passed away way too early, talking like in their 60s and stuff. And I guess the big takeaway the last few years I've kind of had, and when I started the channel, was kind of like, why am I waiting for a hobby when I could just do it? And really my stumbling block was myself. And I kind of think about that a lot. If you're into painting and you haven't painted in a while, and you're like, I'll get into painting one day. If you're a writer and you want to write a story, and I'll do that one day. My wife's a published writer. Whatever your craft is, it could be woodworking, it could be computers. I've kind of had to tell myself, don't make the one day. Make one day right now, And I guess that's kind of been my philosophy. Just go for it. Because I think too many of us, we put a lot of things before our own selves, And that's kind of one of those things even that I think everyone should do, Not to sound too hokey, but I think it's super important, And then you got to find a hobby and find an outlet. And to me, that is my coffee. That's my outlet. That's my hobby. I hope it's the same for y'all. All right. So round number 2, I went quite a few steps forward. So definitely way coarser. Let's see where we land. I'll go ahead and try to pull the double. Try to line this up here a bit more. I do mess with a lot of different gear, and sometimes when you're changing baskets, some baskets land a little different than others. Okay, cool. So definitely not too coarse. It's sticking right above 9. So it's actually that sweet spot where I want it to be. I am at 21 and 18 seconds. It's exactly where I want to be right now. I'm going to try to stop it right about 32. So 34.4 and 24 seconds. Could have been a little faster on that stop. I was doing full manual. But good crema. I think this is going to be a very tasty cup. So, yeah, it's hard because I've had really good results with this, but I don't know if I just got lucky with the way that OPV is set up. I do think this OPV is way too high, and I have really, really thought about opening up and adjusting manually the OPV. If there's enough of you out there probably convincing me, peer pressuring me to do it, I might just do it. So if you want to see that, let me know. If you do it, let me know. Because I have been very tempted. All right, guys, let me have a little taste here. This looks so creamy. Oh, that is delicious. Look at that. Look at that crema. That is really good. Oh, wow. That is a delicious shot. Okay, guys, so this is Birdie. They're not a sponsor, but they are a friend of the channel. I'll tell you that right now. They're really cool. They can be a little pricey. They're on Amazon, but I'm very happy with what they do. This is a medium roast. It is an 80% Robusta, 20% Arabica. So it is going to be a crema beast for sure. It is a very delicious, if you're into medium to dark roast, great cup of coffee. I really love a good Italian coffee. Italian espresso is some of my favorites. I know the trendy thing right now is doing light roast, and that's okay. I like light roast too. I got a light roast coming today for London. But when I was a barista in college, Friends was still on the TV. It was the early 2000s. That's how old I am. You know, frosted tips time. And the really biggest thing was Italian coffee. That was kind of like the mainstream in that point. And that's always been my favorite just because you were a product of our youth, right? Cheers. So I really like this because that's the kind of taste I get to it, but almost even more so. Most Italians are what, an 88% Arabica, 20% Robusta? This turns that ratio on its edge. So this is the opposite. 80% Robusta, 20% Arabica. So I just feel like they do a really good job. It's a white one. It's on Amazon. If you ever want to see it, I've done some videos on it before, and there should be links on my Amazon storefront. So yeah, cool. This is a really good one. So that is really delicious. Here's my first shot. Now it's nice and cold. But just to kind of give it a little comparison. Ooh, yeah, what a difference. This is really kind of more that somewhere between Americano and espresso. Like very mocha pot forward. That's the best way to put it. Oh yeah, the Alexis, the Robusta is phenomenal. I mean, especially if that's what you're looking for. You know, Lance said in one of his last videos, he was talking about, or was it Han? Talking about having the crema is actually a lot of the bitterness. But to me, I love that mouthfeel. It sounds crazy. It's not just about Instagram shots for me. I love that creamy, really silky texture. And I think there's a lot of folks, especially stateside, who are very scared of hearing Robusta because marketing, that's the best way I'll put it. Marketing, we're all kind of trained. It's got to be Arabica. It's got to be 100%. And I'm not saying anything bad about Arabica. I love Arabica, but I'm just saying that it's cool to kind of broaden the horizons to just the one varietal of coffee. So I mean, how many different varietals of coffee are there? There's like tons of them. Oh my goodness, I couldn't even list all of them. But it is a really cool deep dive. If you guys ever are interested, look up how coffee is made. Um, go to some of your roasters, figure out what their suppliers are, do research on suppliers. Guys, it's such an interesting story, and everyone tells a really cool story, and it's just awesome. I dig it. Hey guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me. Happy Saturday. I just wanted to tell you so much. I appreciate y'all. Feel free, like I said earlier in the video, definitely hit me up on Instagram. IG is the best place to DM me or send me a picture if you ever want to connect that way. Feel free to check out anything on Amazon storefront. Helps me buy more beans. I do share that with my wife. She has a channel called Vintage Pickin' Mama. We're about home decor, and we do share that. She's an Amazon influencer, and a lot of the cool gear I get is actually because of her. So big shout out to my wife. She could be an Amazon influencer all she wants. I'm happy with that. It gets us some cool gear to review. So I'm super excited about that. You guys, appreciate y'all. Have a great weekend. If I don't do another one, but I want to do another one of these at least this weekend. I got some cool stuff coming. All right, guys, thanks so much. Have a good one.